Hello there, and thank you very much for joining the Paula Fiscal Show. Our show airs on Sundays at 3 o'clock p.m., and we also upload to YouTube and Facebook. Today, we have one of our regular guests by the name of Chef Sharon Lee. Chef Lee, who has studied under John Besh in New Orleans, has also worked with the Moscone Center and currently is planning her big April Crab Fest. Now, she holds this annually, so for those of you that are interested in attending the Crab Fest, you just need to give the chef a call or email me at paulafiscalshow@gmail.com. And my Twitter handle is paulafiscaltv. So welcome and thank you for joining us. We're going to talk today with Chef Lee about her famous caramel cake.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I am here to share with you today the caramel cake that has been in the family for several decades, and it's been in the South for several generations. And so today was my share to bring and talk about the caramel cake that was made this morning.
So it's a brand new fresh cake. Now sometimes I hear that cakes should be like a day old or something so that you can cut them more easily. Is there any truth to that myth?
From my experience, I usually bake the cake and cut the cake the same day.
So, and it works just fine.
And it works just fine.
So you're talking to us today about a caramel cake.
Yes.
Now, the caramel cake, you use this in many of your events?
It's a specialty cake to order. You know,
It has to be special order.
This is a special order cake. You know, it's not a cake that you would make without it being requested.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So give us the list of ingredients.
Okay, so the list of ingredients is made with brown sugar, some white sugar, vanilla, eggs, cake flour, baking soda. That's for the cake batter.
Now, if you don't have any cake flour, will white flour still work, or?
No, basically
no. It has to be
a cake flour.
And cake flour has in it what? Has baking powder or baking soda?
No, you have to add it. You know, cake flour is usually used for baking pastries. You know, so it's specifically to make cakes. You can use white flour, but cake flour is requested for baking only.
Okay, so if you're writing down the ingredients for this recipe, then
right,
would that be like 2 cups of flour, of cake flour? Would that be?
When you started out making this particular cake, it's like a cup and a quarter of cake flour.
Okay.
Yes.
One and a quarter cups of flour.
Mm-hmm. Teaspoon of baking soda. 1 cup of sugar. 1/4 of a cup of light brown sugar. 2 eggs. A teaspoon of vanilla. And you also use milk, a cup of milk.
Now, is that whole milk or is that?
Yes, it's whole milk.
Non-fat dry milk?
It's
is
whole,
that coconut milk? What kind
no,
of milk
it's whole milk.
Okay, so we're going to put whole milk in.
Right.
So do you mix the eggs up first? Or how is that working?
You can beat your eggs, or you can do 1 or 2 things. You can separate your eggs and mix in your batter, your egg yolks, and then you can kind of whisk your egg whites to a peak and fold it in for more of a moister cake.
So beating the egg whites keeps the cake moist?
Yes.
Aha.
Mm-hmm.
So how long does it take to bake?
It's anywhere 25 minutes, but to 40 minutes, depending on your oven. But I'd say it can be done in 25 minutes.
But if you open up the oven to see if the cake is done, won't it fall?
No.
This one won't. This one's
No.
pretty solid,
Yes.
but it's moist.
It's a heavier cake. You know, I've never had a problem with it falling ever.
Oh, good. Because if you peek into the oven on a cake, usually it takes a fall.
Oh,
But this
yeah.
one does not. Okay, so this is a caramel cake. And how do you get the caramel flavor in there? Is that the brown sugar?
That's the brown sugars. So it's kind of like it caramelizes. You know, it caramelizes. You kind of do a ball test for it. It withstands the filling inside. It takes like a ball test.
Let's talk a little bit about the filling. And then
Okay.
you can give us a few tips on how to keep the cake from sliding around.
Okay, well, once you make the filling, which is made with brown sugars and milk and a little butter, once you make the filling and you put it on the cake, it's pretty stationary because it kind of gets hard. The filling gets a little hard.
It sets, okay.
It sets, so it's no reason for your cake to slide at any point or time. You know, it kind of like keeps it in place.
I see.
Yes.
And from looking at this cake, I see that it has like a crust around the outside. Is that special icing?
Yes. The icing is made like it's like a glaze icing, and so it sets as soon, very 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 shortly after you put it on your cake. It sets.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a glaze.
So, and how do you make the glaze?
You cook it in a saucepan. You prepare it in a saucepan, and you use brown sugar, use milk, you use a little butter to emulsify it, and you cook it. And you let it cool. You bring it to a medium boil. You let it cook, and then you let it set. And then let it cool down a little bit because when it's hot, it's more liquefied. So you let it set for a little bit, and then after it sets, you start to ice your cake. And as it sets and you put it on top of your cake, it has a glaze effect look, and it hardens.
And how long does it take for it to harden?
I would say anywhere from probably 15 minutes to 20 minutes. As soon as it starts hitting the air, because it starts cooling down, and it cools down as you let it set. As it hits the air and it sets, it starts hardening at that point.
And so when you decide you're going to make this cake, how much time do you need from beginning to end?
You can make this cake within...
Now, I'm not talking about the chef in you. I'm talking about
someone
an everyday person like myself that wanted to bake this cake. Should I leave
I just said
myself
about
3
an
hours?
This cake can be made. It's really simple. You know, it's just 3 parts to it, which is the cake batter itself, and then it goes into the filling, and then it goes to the icing. So I would say a good hour and a half, depending on the person that is preparing it.
So only an hour and a half to get this beautiful cake.
Yes.
And what would you serve with this cake? Like ice cream or?
I would serve it with ice cream, vanilla ice cream, or French vanilla bean ice cream, or either I would serve it with the French vanilla ice cream and maybe some berries.
A little bit of berries. Okay, so this cake actually originated from the South, you said?
Yes, it did. Yes.
And is this
This was a traditional cake that people would make and have at dinner, you know, and make for their families. It was easy, affordable, you know, not a very expensive cake to make. And a lot of times it would be sitting on the tables on Sundays, dinners.
I see. So are they always this big? Because this is a good big size cake.
Well, what happens is that most of the things that I do is big.
That's right. Let's remember one thing here, and that is the chef is a professional chef, and she cooks for large numbers of people at all times. So when she brings her food here to explain how she makes it and what she serves, they're always big, healthy sizes. So this one then is your regular size, but for the rest of us, we could use a smaller amount. But you said you only used 1.5 cups of flour. Is that for this size cake too?
Oh, well, actually, well, no, what I did was I actually doubled the recipe
Ah,
to make the cake layers big.
I
Sure.
see. Okay,
so-
so when cooking then
It'll
for
be
the
ha-
TV show, you make it a little bit bigger
Yes.
so that our audience can take a look and see everything in a bigger view. It's kind of like the hamburgers, right?
Yes.
When you see a hamburger being sold on TV, looks huge. And when you go to get the hamburger, it's a little tiny hamburger. So
Yes.
this is really good. So we have here with us once again Chef Sharon Lee, and she's talking about her caramel cake. Now I'm also going to ask the chef to talk a bit about her academy. I understand you have an academy, the Verlaine.
Youth Culinary Academy, which is for inner city children. That age varies from 6.5 years old to 17 years of age. We're starting this academy. The start date for this launching will be June of 2016. We're in the process of locating a kitchen to train and teach the kids. And part of that program will be basic life skills that we will be teaching them, but also how to prepare, cook, food safety, sanitation, how to pick fruit from out of a garden, learning a little bit about agriculture, learning about etiquette as far as how to eat, where to eat, how to read menus, how to create a menu, just various things that we get into with the children, and basic beginning skills on learning how to bake and make pastries.
That's wonderful. Is there a telephone number that you can give us in case a member of the audience would like to enroll their child in the class?
My phone number is 415-517-2851, and I'm Chef Sharon Lee.
And you also have a Facebook page?
Yes, I do. I'm under Sharon Lee on Facebook, and you can find me there.
And you have a Thumbtack page in case you have an event that you'd like Chef Sharon Lee to cook for you. You can see her on the Thumbtack page.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can also contact me through Thumbtack.
And on the Super Bowl day, you brought to our lodge membership a wonderful blackened chicken. I must say everybody was very pleased with that. It was a sample of your work, and everyone kept saying, how does she keep it so moist? So let's hear a couple of secrets now. How do you keep...
Well, actually, I had marinated the chicken, and I also marinated with, put the seasoning on it, and then I also coated with a little olive oil. And I grilled the chicken. And it's just, to me, when you're cooking, sometimes we have overcooked the food. You know, we think that the longer we cook it, it's going to be tasting that much better. But that's not really the case. It's just a matter of, and another thing too, by what they call a marination, also seals flavors inside a chicken. One of the things about cooking that particular type of chicken that I cooked was that you let your chicken breast, it was chicken breast, and you let it rest. Sometimes we cut our meat too fast.
Oh, that's right. You have to let it sit. So is that like 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, let it set for about 5 minutes or so. And
The same
what,
thing with a pizza, right? You're not supposed to cut a pizza right away when you take it out of the oven.
well, you can, yes, you can let it set for a few minutes. It's good to let food set and then cut it.
Because
know.
otherwise, particularly for meat, they say if you're cooking a Chateaubriand or a big roast or something that you need to let it sit and rest for 5 minutes. But then doesn't it cook up? I mean, you want your meat medium rare or something like that?
No. If you use your temperature gauge, thermometer, and it gives you the right temperature, then that lets you know that you're at the right temperature and your meat is cooked to the wellness or doneness or the rareness that you would like. So that's how you would know how well or how not or cooked or not cooked your meat is.
Uh-huh. So let's go back to our Let Them Eat Cake Day. We are here with Chef Sharon Lee, and I'm going to ask her to talk a little bit more about the cakes that she has available in her catering business.
I make various cakes. I do German chocolate cake. I do
Now, what was that?
a German chocolate cake.
A German chocolate cake.
Yes, I
Okay.
like German chocolate. I make a red velvet cake. I love to make a lemon cake.
Lemon cake. Okay, you heard it here.
And
she
one
likes
of
her
the
lemon
one
cake.
of the newer cakes that I want to market is a chocolate pound cake.
Oh, tell us a little bit more about that chocolate pound cake.
Chocolate pound cake is made similar, just like a regular pound cake, but it's made with cocoa chocolate. So I'm getting ready to venture off into making a chocolate pound cake to have a different twist and flavor amongst my cakes.
I see. So will we be seeing this at the local grocer soon?
Uh, well, if I can get someone to market it, I sure would put it in the store.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Chef Sharon Lee's famous cakes. And so when we talk about what you're going to bring to the show, maybe you can share with the audience, how do we decide what you're going to bring next?
We discuss it. I am kind of keeping what I bring along the lines of there's events that I'm doing and food that I'm featuring, and I like the audience to see exactly what it looks like. And we have tasters to say what it tastes like from firsthand experience, and you watching it. So that's kind of like how I go about selecting what I would like to bring on Miss Fiscal show.
Well, as a recap, you did bring us a wonderful kale salad one show, and on another show you brought us barbecue chicken and rice, and it was a whole big spread. And that show is also available on YouTube, and it says Chef Sharon Lee Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Now this one's going to say Let Them Eat Cake with Chef Sharon Lee because this cake is so good looking and so inviting that you almost want to grab a fork and dig right into it. Now, when you serve this cake, do you need to give it a little time to set also?
I would think so. This cake is a very unique cake in its own way, and I would let it set, and then cut it. Cakes that carry a lot of moisture, you know what I mean, they hold very well. Mm-hmm. So when you cut them, they it's just like you can just lay it on the plate with ease and very much ready to eat.
So do you get much call then for cupcakes, or do you not include those in your?
Cupcakes is a special order, and a lot of times, it just depends on who I'm working for, and what they require. A lot of times, a lot of the clients, I make cobblers and different things, bread
Cobbler?
puddings.
Did we say the word cobbler?
Yes, I make
Blueberry
cobblers,
cobblers,
blueberry,
peach
apple,
cobblers.
pear, peach. I make cobblers. I make bread pudding. So a lot of times they may not want cakes. They may want cobblers. They may want pies. I make pies too. It just depends on the individuals that what they want to have, or as far as a dessert is concerned.
I see. Now, for those of you that want to vote, you can go ahead and email me or use the Twitter and tell us what you want Chef Lee to bring for our next show. Real simple. Paula Fiscal TV, that's my Twitter handle. Or you can go to the Facebook page, the Paula Fiscal Show, or you can use an email account, paulafiscalshow@gmail.com. And for those of you that want to get a little sampling of this cake, we are at the studio at the Bay Area Video Coalition at 2727 Mariposa, where all of the shows that SF Commons sponsors, I am one of over 100 producers, we get to use their wonderful Bayback facilities. So once again, let's have Chef Sharon Lee tell us a little bit more about our Let Them Eat Cake Day.
Okay, so the staff will be my tasters today. I'm looking forward to them giving me some feedback on how they have
And the
enjoyed
staff
this.
meaning Andrew Montoya, Ann Simmons, and Cindy Matterson. And Andy I saw around here today too, so he'll get to taste.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to hearing some feedback on this cake on their Let There Be Cake Day.
And those of you that are in the audience, once again, if you're interested in sampling some of her wares, Chef Sharon Lee will give you her phone number again.
415-517-2851. You can contact and reach me at that number.
Wonderful. So let's talk about what you're going to bring in next time.
Next time I am going to, I think I might bring in a buttermilk pie.
There you go, a buttermilk pie. That sounds fabulous. So we're going to have a pie show.
Yeah, we'll have a pie show.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. And so we're going to close now with our Let Them Eat Cake Day. And Miss Sharon Lee, why don't you give us just a bit of advice for those of us out in the audience that would like to learn how to bake like you?
Okay, well, like I said, make sure that you go to that you have all of your ingredients, your mise en place, that's what we call it, all your ingredients.
Your mise en place, what was that? What was
Mise
that
en
word?
place means all of your organization of what you're going to prepare. And, have everything that you need to make the cakes. Measuring spoons, measuring cups are all important in making this cake. Okay.
Now, did you use a glass cake dish, or did you use a
No, I
cast iron?
use pans, baking pans.
Aluminum or
Yeah,
Teflon?
they're no aluminum. Okay.
Aluminum pans.
Yes.
So is there a preference for people to use glass over the aluminum, or what is the difference?
Glass, I didn't learn on how to use glassware. I learned on how to use pans. So that's made just for baking. So professional baking, or
So
just
professional bakers use the
we did
metal pans.
They use metal pans, and I would suggest it's a small investment that you can use over and over again to buy a metal pan. The one thing about them is you have to oil them like you do cast iron skillets because they'll rust.
Is that right?
So
And
anytime
so do you have
use
to oil them every time you use them?
after you wash them. After you
so
wash
that
them.
explains why they get rusty.
Yes.
And then people don't like to use the metal pans anymore.
Right. And then what happens is you can kind of taste
the metal.
metals taste in your cake or your mixes.
So this is good to know then.
Right.
And this is after you wash them, then you oil them, then you put them away.
Then you put them away. And that's a thin coat of oil, you know. Put them in a way where they don't be in the open air where they collect dust. Put them away in a cabinet.
Put them away.
Yes.
So there you go. We are here now with Chef Sharon Lee at the Paula Fiscal Show. She's going to share with us advice and tips, and she's even divulging some of the ingredients for her special recipes. And today was the Let Them Eat Cake Day. So I want to give a shout out to a couple of my sponsors, SFID General Contractor Pat Lakey, who does post-production. And I'd like to say thank you to Ursula of the White Rose Boutique, who does her best to keep me looking all sharp and chic. And I also want to thank Gypsy Rosalie of Gypsy Rosalie Wigs and Vintage at 1222 Sutter Street here in San Francisco. So thank you so much for joining us. And we want to thank our chef Sharon Lee and let her say our goodbye.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be in the front of the audience this afternoon. And I also want to thank Miss Paula Fiscal for having me on her show.
Thanks again for joining us. And you can catch our shows on Sunday at 3 o'clock p.m. on Channel 29. And we also are on live stream now. So if you are interested in seeing the show live stream, it goes right to your Android or your iPad. Then you can log on to my email at paulafiscalshow@gmail.com, and you'll get how to do the download for the live stream. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and stay informed.